Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between the Vampire Coast, who shall be led by LUTHOR Harkin atop his mighty Deathshriek Terrorgeist. And guys, he's going to be facing off against the Greenskins, who are going to be helmed by AZHAG atop Skullmuncher. So yes, we're going to have the glorious Air Force duel. Let's go ahead and take a look at the builds. So as far as my Air Force goes, it's going to be two groups of deck droppers with handguns. And I think that both variants are, viable in this matchup, both the pistol variant plus the handgun variant. Not so sure about bombers. I know they received a couple buffs like a while back, but I really haven't given them much of a fair shake. So perhaps I'll try those in future replays, but deck droppers with handguns have pretty good armor piercing values. And basically, I know that Black Orcs are the counter to Depth Guard. They're extremely efficient at just cutting through these vampire berserkers, whatever the hell they are. So I figured, hey, let's get some deck droppers, let's get LUTHOR Harkin, let's snipe the Black Orcs, and then hope that the Depth Guard can outgrind the rest of this massive Greenskin wall. So it's going to be interesting for sure. So LUTHOR up in the sky, he's honestly, after thinking about it, and plus he nerfs to Count Noctilus and summons, I think that LUTHOR Harkin is probably the most competitive pick against Greenskins. He can shut down the WoW with his power siphon, he can snipe characters, he just hits like a truck, he's just such a good character. So LUTHOR Harkin, I think, is the way to go if we're playing in tournaments and competitive games and things like that. I mean, the other ones are all good too. Noctilus isn't bad. Celestia can be pretty good. Araness is not so great in this matchup because there's too many infantry for her. So I think those are probably the best three choices. Now, this is one thing that's going to be a bit of an experiment in this video. We're going to be trying the Gallows Giant. I know King of the Dead loves it. I haven't given it too much action, but it does have some, well, of course it causes terror, but it does also have these effects here for the burnt. So I figured, hey, if there's like a big horde of like Savage Orcs or just cheap Greenskin infantry and archers, maybe he's going to be able to kind of, route those guys off and just, be a decent presence here in the battlefield. So we're going to try him out. Front line's going to be 3 deckhand mobs, 3 depth guards. So we're going just balls deep into the depth guard. Grabs are really good as well, but we're going to be trying, a different build out, trying to learn something new here. And we do also have a Vampire Fleet Captain with vampires, and that's it. So for my opponent's army, the Great Hadries, he does have AZHAG up in the skies, a couple of groups of Forest Goblin Spider Riders, it looks like, on the flanks of the army. But the main core is pretty similar to a lot of Greenskin builds. You see a couple Black Orcs and then a bunch of just, even Greenskin Orc boys and like Savage Orcs can really beat down deckhand mobs. So use those guys to kill the zombies, use the Black Orcs and the Firepower to kill the Depth Guard, and you're usually going to be okay. So he does have a Night Goblin Shaman with Vindictive Glare and also a Spirit Leech. So really going to be going for that sniping there. But you can see I do get the Power Siphon off with LUTHOR Harkin, which means he's not going to be able to cast a wall until he fights in melee combat for 15 seconds. And then I basically just chase him with LUTHOR to keep him from doing that. So it's a pretty nice synergy. He does also have Savage Orc Air Boys in the whole back line. A great army, Savage Orcs. I mean, it's just a thick, meaty Greenskin horde. Let's see how this goes. So firstly, going to be taking some pot shots with the deck droppers, trying to, soften up these Black Orcs a little bit. But the Firepower, I've gotten a couple volleys and it hasn't really done anything, actually. But I think they were just, they're just getting warmed up here. So after a couple volleys, there you go. That's the good stuff. So we're able to kind of pepper down a couple Black Orcs. LUTHOR does take some fire on his approach, trying to get in there, get a little bit greedy and snipe some Black Orcs. And you can see the Gallows Giant just completely 100% whiffs on those Night Goblins. So his ranged attack's certainly not the most reliable, but in the meantime, I am going to be strafing away with the deck droppers, trying to stay away from his archer line, while also putting good pressure on the Black Orcs. And we're getting some decent value there. The Gallows Giant is able to take out 6 Black Orcs. LUTHOR Harkin's going to be getting a nice Breath Attack, so we go from the side here. And here it comes, Breath Attack of the Gods going down and melting a ton of Black Orcs. So far so good on the value train. We're going to be falling back here, Spirit Leech coming down, plus a lot of missile pressure, and even if it doesn't like burst LUTHOR, it's still getting him closer to his healing cap, which at the end of the game really, really matters because he does have the hunger. Deck droppers, in the meantime, still working on those Black Orcs, but they are going to be falling back amongst the archers. And you can see here the Gallows Giant is going to continue poking, but the Gallows Giant has 75 armor and Forest Goblin Spider Riders coming. I don't want to stay there and get shot by all those archers. That is not going to be a good time, especially considering he does have the Rusty Arrows mixed in there somewhere. I know he has them. I remember them from the replay, but maybe they're on the other side somewhere. We'll find them as the game goes on. Anyways, right here you can see the deck dropper is still working on the Black Orcs, got him down to about half health, which is good. Trying to soften them up for the Depth Guard. Again, they really just beat the brakes off Depth Guard, so I do not want any of that. So here I see that AZHAG is going to be going in pretty deep here for the deck droppers. So at this point I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit beat up, but LUTHOR is just a far superior duelist to AZHAG. He's going to be able to get in there because he has his gun, plus he attacks from his Terrorgeist. Spirit Leech is coming down as well, but I do drop a Power Siphon on him again to prevent the wall, and now I'm going to be chasing. So as I'm chasing, I'm taking some pressure, but I still think it's going to be good for me because LUTHOR on his blunderbuss here is going to be dropping some fire. Plus he has supporting fire coming in from the deck droppers. So you can see big damage coming in. AZHAG's actually quite low. Hornswoggle has gone down, putting him down to 58 speed, plus the poison. We're certainly going to be able to keep up with Skullmuncher and really get that aggressive pressure. So now that his formation's in a little bit of a disarray, obviously, the Air Force battle has certainly, maybe caught him off guard, I'm not sure. We're going to be moving forward with our main army. You can see some of the archers are a little bit out of position here, so we're just going to be kind of charging aggressively. You can see the Depth Guard and the zombies are going to be surging forward. Gallows Giant's going to be hopefully spit roasting some of these orcs here. That's a good initial start there. So we've killed a couple Savage Orc Air Boys, but we're starting to take a lot of damage ourselves. The archers, though they're remaining stationary, and there's the Rusty Arrows, they're starting to get some really good firepower on LUTHOR, so I'm just going in. I'm committed right now. I have Invocation, he does not, so I figured that I can probably outlast this here. Spirit Leech is going to be going down on the Gallows Giant as well, so it looks like he's switching his target priority onto the Giant, which makes sense because the Depth Guard and all these guys here are going to start really crumping into the front line. And the Black Orcs will be good here. I mean, they're immune to Psych, so they're not going to get terror routed by this big bad boy. A very, very solid unit. So over here we have the fight in the skies is still going on. So his archers are peppering me, my deck droppers are peppering him. Vindictive Glare looks like it may have narrowly missed, and we do also get an Invocation of the Heck. And this is where we go for the Alpha Strike. You can see that AZHAG is probably not going to be able to get away from too many more attacks. And you can't run from old Luthor. He's coming for you. You know, he's got that sweet blunderbuss, so he's going to keep shooting you as he pursues you, which is one of the reasons why he's so good. So down here in the pit fight, it's just Black Orcs, Depth Guard everywhere. There's a couple Savage Orc Airboys who are caught up in combat, especially now that these Orc Boys are kind of out of the picture here. And you can see the Gallows Giant is going to continue to just try and disrupt this backline with some summons. He's definitely doing a pretty good job here. However, you know, there's a lot of Orc Archers, and they are Savage Orc Airboys, which are immune to Psychology while their Frenzy's active. So in the beginning of the fight, you're not going to get too many good routes. Although right here we do. It looks like their Frenzy may have gone off when they got below 50% leadership, but it still takes more time. And they're going to be coming back here in a moment and providing some good pressure. But finally, we do get AZHAG up in the sky here. You can see he's 500 HP, very, very low. Spirit Leech is going down on Luthor Harkin again, so starting to wear me down. Maybe if he had used the other Spirit Leech on Luthor as well, I mean, I would be in the danger zone perhaps. Vindictive Glare coming down, and we do take out AZHAG. So AZHAG's fallen, and we take a huge blast to the face. A really nice kind of retort there. So at this point, I'm going to get Luthor and go snipe out the Goblin to make sure that I don't have any more threats coming my way. Now right here, you can see the big old Gallows Giants is trying to master out these forces, but the Greenskins, this is what tends to happen in this matchup. You'll get the archers back initially, but they're just going to kind of fan out in a big, like, kind of a flying Mighty Ducks formation, and they're just going to start blasting into my Giant. So now, even though I got his Lord, I mean, he still has a lot of stuff on the ground. Savage Orcs here, and I believe he has stuff over on the periphery coming back. So Goblins, and on the far side, he does have some Savage Orcs who may have maybe dropped their orders, not sure, but they'll be coming back here in a second. And it looks like the Goblin is going to be taken to Pound Town by Luthor. Certainly good, and the Gallows Giant has its work cut out for him. I basically just need to shut down the archers, because if I don't, Luthor's almost dead. He has like 1,000 HP, 1,300 HP, and if I lose the Gallows Giant, I don't have much left in the way of infantry. Though the Depth Guard have had some pretty good matchups here against like Goblins, the Black Orcs are still going strong. They actually killed a group of my Depth Guard, and they're still going to be grinding it out here. So man, despite all that, those Black Orcs are just absolute machines. So we're going to be falling back here. You can see the leadership's very low in the Gallows Giant. It's actually crumbling right now, so I need to get back. The Goblin Archers are just going to be buttering that bread if I do not. And Luthor, it's a little bit tricky. I mean, I can't go over here. There's like 4 or 5 groups of archers, and archers are just the bane of the Vampire Coast. And the thing about this matchup is, I'm out of ammunition actually on my deck droppers as well, pretty much, is you can't, Scurvy Dogs don't work that well because Savage Orcs can actually beat them down. Savage Orc Airboys have really good offensive stats and good weapon strength at 35. So it's not super cost efficient when they're bringing like 6 or 7 archers to chase them with dogs. So you kind of just have to either trade, you know, volleys with them, which I don't think is efficient either because archers have better arcs of fire, or you have to just break through the front line. In this case, I opted to break through the front line, and it's working relatively well. It's an extremely close game. So the archers are going to be rallying, Orc Boys are coming back in, Savage Orc Airboys are going to be pulling back here, and the Gallows Giant is going to be taking some massive peppering fire, as is Luthor. So I'm trying to juke and just pick off whatever I can. 2 groups of Depth Guard are still in good shape, 33 and 33 here, but there's just so many Orcs here. You can see Savage Orcs, Orc Boys, Forest Goblin, Spider Riders, and even though Depth Guard are good against all the aforementioned units there, they still do get dragged down, so it's not going to be a freebie. None of that, you know, they're not giving it up for free. So here I'm like, okay, his archers are mostly concentrated here. Let's try and get a mass route and just chase these guys off. And the Depth Guard are getting kited a little bit. They only have 36 speed, and the Orc Airboys actually have 37, so they can run away. Savage Orcs are going to be charging into the Depth Guard. Luthor Harkin will probably get an instant terror on these guys by rear attacking them here. And oh, looks like his Terror Guys just ate someone. That's cool. So Terror Guy's getting in there, and you can see there's an instant route. We're using our deck droppers on the other side to chase off the Rusty Errors. Bounce Power is really even though, guys. The Gallows Giant, which is one of my big meaty investments here, does cost 2,000 gold, and it really has only gotten 31 kills. So I mean, it had a couple good terror routes, but in terms of damage output, it really hasn't done much. So the Gallows Giant is something that if I went back to the drawing board after this game, you know, I might reconsider it for something else. So the Gallows Giant is going to be going down right there, and pop goes the Weasel, and down he goes. But bounce is still really even. I have Luthor Harkin, but there's just a horde of Greenskins against my very elite core here. So I have 2 groups of Depth Guard that are still somewhat intact, and then I do also have some deck droppers, so I'm just using to chase down the Night Goblin Archers and those other troops. Their combat prowess is okay, 26, 21. I think their weapon strength is like 22 when they're not poisoned, so they're going to be getting in there and doing some work. And I still do have the Vampire Fleet Captain, who's going to be getting in there as well and potentially helping, but the WoG goes into the sunset still. I mean, if you stretched out this whole army, that would be a lot of work. So we've done a really good job sniping the elites, like the Black Orcs and the characters and things like that, but I don't know if I had enough horde clearing. It's going to be really close here, coming down to the end of the game. But again, does he have enough punch to really deal with Luthor Harkin? I mean, it's hard to say. He's got a couple archers scattered around, but it's going to be a fierce cockfight for sure. So depth guard down to the pits are in that epic slow-mo fight. You can see they're going to be cleaving and just cleaving through hordes of these guys. 121 kills on these guys. I think the depth guard have certainly paid for themselves. 121 here, 145 here. Depth guard I feel like are really good in this matchup. I don't know, 3 might be overkill, but I still think they're pretty solid. So here you can see Luthor is going to be coming back up into the sky, looking for that sweet landing. And here he comes, attacking the back of the formation to try and get a terror route. So here you can see the Black Orcs are going to be wavering, -33. And this entire Greenskin formation is, shaking and wavering. I don't have too much left fighting. I have some summons left, who is my last summon. I'm actually out of Winds Magic. Luthor's at his healing cap. There's not too much more witchcraft I can pull off here. But the Greenskin firing line is still going strong. You can see some of the Savage Orc Airboys shooting in there, getting some pretty good work. Am I going to get away? Oh, Luthor, pull up, buddy. 1800 HP, healing cap. The Hunger is not going to be healing him. He has 1 shot left with his Blunderbuss, so not going to be able to kind of fly overhead and just get those free shots anymore. He has to get just fisticuffs down and dirty. So in the meantime, some deck droppers are going to be shutting down the Rusty Urs, but very good response here by Hadries. He's going to be getting his remnants of his Spider Riders to clean those guys up, which is actually huge. Those Rusty Urs, 66 models firing is a lot. So we get that terror route again. Savage Orcs are broken off. We're just kind of pushing back here, trying to route everyone. Balance of power actually a little bit in the favor of the Greenskins, as the last of these Brave Night Goblins are taken out by the Depth Guard. But there's not many of them left. It looks like there's 14 models in total, and those guys are going to be surging over here and just trying to go after these troops. Savage Orcs and Orc Boys and company are, crumping towards the middle. They're looking to crump some gits, although I don't know if you would call... I mean, I guess everything that isn't one of them is a git, right? So you can see here the Depth Guard are going to be getting taken out for the most part by a charge from Spider Riders. I mean, they're just so low at this point. The Depth Guard have like 300 HP. And Luthor, I'm just trying to chase all these guys off. I'm just like, get out of my swamp. I'm trying to get them off the edge of the battlefield, but those damn pesky archers keep coming back, and every time, like, they're spread out enough that even if I get one off, the other ones are going to be able to get crossfire. So Luthor's getting a little bit worn out, I must say. And I mean, any of the infantry here, if they were all blobbed up, I could easily get a mass terror route, and probably it wouldn't be a problem for Luthor. But the situation, the real issue here is the fact that his archers keep coming back, and even if I go and dive one of them, I'm going to be getting shot by the other. It's very much like a dog eat onion strategy, right? I mean, unintentional, of course, because it's not the initial deployment, but we're going to be going in. I mean, it's intentional that he's doing that, but I'm saying, like, orcs normally don't play that same way. But Luthor Harkin's going to be coming in, trying to strike down these archers. I will be dropping a Hornswoggle, or actually a taunt here on the Savage Orcs, trying to give my Vampire Fleet Captain more of a fighting chance. But Savage Orcs are going to be very efficient at cutting through the light armor, the 30 armor of this Vampire Fleet Captain. And with that, guys, it looks like the bounce power is going in the favor of my opponent. Treachery. Luthor Harkin is going to be falling to a horde of ramshackle arrows. Who would have thought this great vampire lord? Although, yeah, maybe his cowardly personality is going to take over and he'll flee to fight another day. Well, it doesn't really look like it. That's going to be it. So very well played. It was a great comeback for the Greenskins. AZHAG died early. The Black Orcs took a lot of damage early. It was just, a lot of initial struggles for the Greenskins, but he remained calm. He kept his archers online just diligently, was remicroing his forces, getting them back in, and that was enough. So as far as critiquing my build, I think it has a couple strengths. I think that using Luthor and the deck droppers together is pretty good for like sniping and going after Black Orcs. But I think the Gallows Giant just sucked. Like really, I think that was one of the big things that cost me the game. It just, for 2,000 gold, I could have had another group of Depth Guard, which easily would have racked up like another, 100. Look at that. They would have racked up a lot of kills. And that would have made a big difference in horde clearing. The Gallows Giant gets nice terror routes, but in retrospect, I would probably cut the Gallows Giant. I would get a group of Depth Guard and a group of Sirens if I really want to get a rush. I mean, Crabs could be good too, but Sirens also cause terror in our infantry. And plus, the Greenskins have to have magic damage to deal with it efficiently. Plus, it's good against Black Orcs. So I think just going for that, if I want to go for like a Luthor sniping rush build, the Gallows Giant really just kind of, in my opinion, sucked. And, Hadries was really able to capitalize, take that bad boy down, and just did a great job. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this Vampire Coast vs. Greenskin showdown. We played a lot of games. I actually just ran into him on ladder, and we're like, hey, let's just jump into lobbies and play, because yeah, it's always great to play him. He's a solid player, really nice dude, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this Vampire Coast vs. Greenskin showdown, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.